guys, this is John, aka Lather Hog, and you're here on Lather Talk. We're talking to Chris Kerrigan from Oaken Lab. Chris, thank you for your time today and joining me on this call.
Yeah, thank you.
So Chris, as I understand it, you were visiting family recently, a few months back, in Texas, but this also kind of coincided with the outbreak of COVID-19, so your stay was extended. Now remind me again, how much longer did you have to extend your trip because of all the craziness that was happening?
Well, actually, the funny thing is my stay was shortened. I was supposed to be in the States for a month to stay with my family. For my mom, she was, some health things, which are fine. But in the middle of it, while she was in the hospital recovering, all of a sudden they told me I can't visit anymore. And then a few days later, I got a notice that my flight home, scheduled for a couple more weeks, was canceled. So I had to end up getting a flight home earlier. But I did get a good 3.5 to 4 weeks extended stay in the States. So that was pretty good.
Oh, my apologies for mixing up the.
No.
I remember your trip got affected, but I thought
it was affected.
It was affected for sure.
It was definitely affected. It was an interesting trip.
Well, I'm glad to hear that your mother's doing better.
She's great.
One thing I know is you kind of took advantage while being in the States to try out a bunch of artisan wet shaving products. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think I've mentioned to you before, but it's hard for me to get a lot of products here in Indonesia. And usually the way that I end up getting them, if I'm not traveling on my own, I have people bring stuff back for me, which is a common thing here in Indonesia to do. So people visit the States and I get asked them to bring back a soap or two, usually, not more than that. But while I was there, I figured this is my chance to really try out a lot of new things that I've been wanting to. So, yeah, I got to pick up a few good things.
Awesome. Do you mind sharing? I'm always interested to hear what artisans like what artisans did you discover or have new favorite scents, soaps, just any products that you tried in that? What were some standout ones?
Right. Well, I've tried grooming depth before. I tried the West Coast Shaving Exclusive, which was the New York Shipra. That one, again, somebody muled it back for me. And I just fell in love with the base. The scent, it's funny, at first it was not quite, I wasn't quite into it, but I think maybe by the third shave, it became one of my absolute favorite scents. There's just a lot of depth to it, but the base is really what got me. So knowing that, I knew that I was interested in trying the Ion base, the Ion scent in the Nye base, which I gave that a try. And again, it was also recommended. A lot of the time, I go by recommendations from other guys in the community, especially ones that I know we kind of have similar taste. So that one I really loved, and it's got this really nice, deep woody, I think it's called Gaiac wood, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I think everything about that one was great for me. Another one that I tried that I was really looking forward to was the Katie's Bubbles 322. That is a very intense vetiver and blackcurrant scent. And, I keep hearing that people they either love it or they hate it. It's one of those kind of scents, very polarizing. But vetiver is right up my alley. And that one was fantastic. And it was in the luxury cream base, if I'm not mistaken, is the name of it. So it's very, very soft. So that was something really interesting to try. I've tried a couple Katie's Bubbles before, but in the other base, and that's much firmer. But I didn't have much luck with those just because, they weren't the right scent or profile for me. But that one was fantastic.
No doubt there are some excellent soap bases out there. Are you more drawn when you hear about a really exciting scent or are really excited about a really excellent soap base?
I think, yeah, it's hard to say because it's a little bit of both. Yeah. Um, for me, like the 322 is a scent that I've always kind of been really curious about, and Katie's Bubbles too, because he's like the OG of modern wet shaving. Chris has got some really strong supporters, and I keep hearing such great things. So I really want to try the base, but that particular scent was something that really appealed to me, and I really wanted to give it a try. And then, but grooming depth also, because I knew about that base I knew about the previous base, that I think it's the donkey milk one. And then I got a recommendation from GERARD at West Coast. He was the one who said, try this base, you're going to love it. I think also because he knows my taste in base formulas and that kind of thing. I usually like things that are dense and nourishing and slick, and again, the trifecta of a good base. Both of them were for the base. I think I was trying the grooming depth more for the base and the scent, and I was trying the Katie's Bubbles more for the scent than the base. But again, it was they both crossed over.
That makes sense, and I apologize. I shouldn't have made you. It's like choosing your favorite child. No. Are you going for performance or scent? Yeah.
No, that's the thing. I mean, I have so many soaps. Well, not so many. Actually, I have very, very few soaps compared to a lot of the collectors there. But most of the soaps that I have, I like for different reasons. Sometimes I know, I just want something like bright and fresh, regardless of the performance. Some days I'm like, I just want that like pure, luxurious experience, which is a combination of both. And it's different every day. I mean, I think it's the same with most wet shavers.
Right. I think again with the astounding amount of options, right? It's got I'm just thinking, what pulls me to try out a new artisan, and it's usually when there's a release that it's like I've heard good things about this. I've heard at least like decent to excellent things about the soap base, but then the scent is what, like, if it's kind of like less than interesting scents, I might wait until something grabs my attention, but it's on my radar at least.
Right. Yeah. I think, like I said, I've come to, find through just talking with other people, people who I feel like our taste in scent or type of soap base really meshes. So usually I just kind of chat with them. Hey, what's new? I know I'm going to be able to pick something up, or somebody's going there to pick something up for me. What do you recommend? Because I can't buy everything and have them. It's hard to ask my friends or my relatives to bring back, like 10 jars of soap. It doesn't make sense. So I'm going to pick something that at least gets a good mark from people whose opinion I trust. That's usually how I do it. I mean, I'm sure if I lived there, I would be way more experimental and just kind of pick up whatever is at the top of, whatever sounds good. But I try to, first and foremost, if there's something that is recommended, of course I'm going to check the scent and see if it's something that sounds like it might be good for me. I don't like things that are too sweet. And also because I'm really into fragrance and perfume, I really love things that are more complex. And so if I see something that sounds like it's going to have, actually, I like things that are a bit more strange too. So I like picking up stuff like, what was it? The Barrister and Men Fougere Gothique. Another one that's kind of polarizing, I think, but that was one of the soaps that I picked up early on, and that scent is, it takes the right kind of day to use that soap and scent. It's not something I can use every day, but I really love it. And I think, another one like Barrister Men's Vespers is one of my favorite scents so far that I've tried. It's just really rich and deep, and it I don't know, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of depth to the scent.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned you're drawn to unique scents, which makes sense, because I think that's what you're trying to do with your own with your own brand, your own company.
So going back to your what you were asking about going to the States, I try to be involved with the community a little bit, but to be honest, I don't have a ton of time to be sitting on chat rooms and all that kind of stuff all the time. So I mean, I try to be involved, but so I asked some of the guys in some of the groups that I'm in, I believe you're in as well, and I was just like, or actually they asked me, what have you not tried, or what do you want, like what's on your list? And I had a few guys send me some samples and things that were just like, I mean, it was amazing. I got to try like the Holy Cow's new base, which I didn't know if I was going to get a chance to. I tried it in the Fougere Mania, which was pretty good. And I mean, the base is incredible. The scent is good. It's not my like kind of everyday kind of scent, but it's I'm super happy to have been able to try it. And currently it's out to some of my friends here to try as well. So, and then, those were all kind of like on my list, but I didn't get around to trying all of them. Oh, the other thing that was not on that was on my list was Oleo Soapworks. Unfortunately, I've never had a chance to try them before, but luckily I was just able to try the West Coast shaving line that was produced by Oleo. And it's funny, like, some ingredients work really well for some artisans, and then for others it doesn't. I tried to do something with goat's milk and it just would not work. But then eventually I came across the idea of using the yogurt, and it accomplished what I was trying to achieve with the goat's milk. So, and then, cocoa butter is something I can't even get here. Like literally, I have not found a single supplier that has it. And on the other hand, I also have found a lot of ingredients that, maybe come from Korea or something like that. I'm dying to experiment with them, but I just haven't really gotten my hands on a small enough sample to do it.
Before committing to, I'm going to buy a whole ton of it.
Yeah, because here, one of the other drawbacks here is that, like in the States, you can pretty much anything you want, you can order in some small quantity, right? You can find it somewhere from a supplier in like 100 grams or whatever, or ounces, 2 ounces or 5 ounces or whatever.
Right.
Here, so many ingredients, beyond giving me like a tiny little sample, I have to buy 25 kilos of it, a big giant bucket, or a big tank of it, if it's a liquid oil. So it's tough, but it's okay. It works out.
Well, I'm just wondering like how people then are supposed to I don't know. I guess maybe it's just catering to large commercial, like the scale in which they're selling to.
Right.
It's not the artisan.
I mean, there are some places that you can buy some things in small quantity, but if you're talking about experimenting with like special ingredients, especially when it comes to natural, it's hard to find a supplier for small quantity that's willing to do that.
I see.
But like I said, it works out, and I've come to find the right ingredients.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's definitely a unique hurdle specific to where you're located, right? I mean, you can't just let me just go on Amazon and even...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Actually, for me, the ingredients are less of an issue than the fragrance, because one of the things about fragrance is that I always make everything from scratch. I think you made a comment before about duplicate scents, or referencing other brands. I mean, to be honest, like clones, you just buy. You don't. It's not that people are making something that, or that's similar to something else. I mean, you can just go to a supplier and say, "Hey, I want to duplicate of Aventus, and you get it, you buy it. So for me, there's an artistry behind the scent. That's my background is actually art. From I went to college for art and studied art, photography specifically, but also like art theory, and I've curated art exhibitions and so on. So like these things are really important to me, like this creativity, and this, the soap base is one thing, but the scent is what defines the brand, or defines your product or your message or what you're trying to say. Sure. I think like that kind of thing for me is super important. Getting the ingredients to be able to create a scent from scratch is really, really difficult. Only recently have I found some, like a local supplier that is willing to sell me in, a liter or a kilo or less, which is really tough. So when you're talking about one ingredient in a formula of 30 ingredients, and you have to buy 25 kilos of each ingredient, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. So that's been one of the big challenges.
Yeah, from what the little I have heard of or kind of research on perfuming, it's I think the video you referenced when I was talking about clones, it's like I just think it's ridiculous for someone who wants to try their hand at soap making. Let's say they just want to do the soap making, and then you also, I feel like consumers. I'll go by this. I think consumers have become super entitled just because of all the options, and just a lot of like excellent options are out there, right? But someone just starting can't do it all. Sometimes they might have the magic formula, but like to get the scent right, to get the scent, to get the soap, to get a post shave product all kind of top notch, like and firing on all cylinders, it's really hard. So like I don't.
It is,
So I don't fault anyone for doing a dupe, but yeah, kind of like, exactly like you said, it really is like, okay, you make your stuff, and then this fragrance you just dump right in, because it's like just let's take that part out.
Yeah, no, there's a couple things. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't. There's no fault for anyone doing that. It's just for me personally, this is my the way I want to kind of develop the brand is really focusing on the scent, and being able to create that on my own. So, I mean, like Aventus smells great. There's no doubt about that. So to have a great quality soap that smells like that, there's nothing wrong with that. So.
What I liked about it is like you mentioned your background in art, which I did not know about. So tell me then, like how hands-on are you with your label design? Because a lot of people, when I've been using it, like I went live on Instagram, not just a few days ago. A lot of people just mentioned they love the label work on your soaps. Is that do you work with someone, or is that all you?
Well, yes and no. So we actually have a design company that helps us with all of our packaging in general, but most of the direction comes from us. So we knew from the beginning we wanted to use photographs on the label, which are actually my photographs. So I take all the photos for the label.
Nice.
And so the photographs are also based on the concept of the soap, or the scent, actually, not the soap. So like Earth of Mankind, I think, which is the one that you were using. So the photograph on there is actually, it's the inside of this very grand old colonial Dutch era building in what they call Batavia, which is the old town of Jakarta. And it used to be the city center back in the Dutch era. So it's got this beautiful detailing, but of course the building itself is super dilapidated, just really run down. But what I was trying to reference with the scent is actually that era of Java, which is the island in Indonesia. So I took a photograph of that Dutch architecture to represent that. And then like conservatory, I really wanted the whole concept behind conservatory was kind of this, a conservatory, like a glass house with lots of flowers, kind of preserving the summer year round and that kind of thing. But so to get the feeling for that, I photographed a lot of plants that were kind of pressed up, frosted and moist glass, as if it were part of a conservatory. So now this one, the photograph on the label for Sanctum, as I mentioned before to you about the Sanctum being, basically for us, for my wife and myself, it's our home. It's our place where we can just completely just relax and just, so actually that photograph is in our house, and it's this really beautiful afternoon light that comes in and hits this one corner of our space. And that's actually the photograph that you're looking at.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, I think well, first of all, it's awesome that you're able to use your photography, which is excellent. And I think just the designs, it's very well thought out and intentional. And I personally like that when I see that in a brand, in a company, their products. And I always thought, even though they're, let's say like a very wide array of scents, but the design work is definitely, there's a theme there. And there's some, you have the art background and not me, but is this like a particular style? Because I'm like, is it just like contemporary modern? Because it's very clean, right? With the lines, the text. It's a good template for you to then apply different colors, photos. But even your color palette, I feel like it's not. Forgive me if I use the wrong terms, but I know like color saturation is a big thing, right? When it's super saturated, it's super bold. I feel like yours is a little bit on the more kind of muted side, although there is an array of colors. It's a little more calming. It's kind of the vibe I get.
Yeah. I think, of course, with every brand, there's a bit of the owner in the brand. So, sure. I think that's kind of us. We're just, we're very like mellow and, I think, yes, it's intentional. Like every element is intentional. So the colors that we choose, to our mind, is the color that comes across in the scent. Earth of Mankind, for instance, is, it's that rich tobacco and clove and vanilla, and you get this kind of maroon burgundy color that goes with that. And it's kind of somewhere between a tobacco and burgundy. And then for Far Field, the concept is kind of this waking up early morning in the mountains with this mistiness and the moisture, and it's not quite bright daylight yet, but so that to us translates as this for us that translates as kind of like a dusty green.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for taking some time out of your evening to talk to me. I know we're in opposite times of day here, but it's been a pleasure hearing more about kind of what you got to check out on your recent trip, or just recently in general, and to hear more about Oaken Lab. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, John. It's been really cool to talk to you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Lather Talk. You can find all the links for Oaken Lab in the show notes. If you're enjoying the podcast, you can help us out by leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next episode.